Hey guys! If you, like me, are a Roblox iPad baby, you probably know about or have even played Dandy's World. It's a horror game on Roblox that's garnered quite a bit of attention over its about year and a half or so of being published. But if you don't know it for the game itself, you might unfortunately know it for its very poorly perceived fandom. Before we start, sit down. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love this game. And I love this fandom. There are plenty of freaks, sure, but most people just love the characters and the experience, and they're not drawing yada inflation art, I promise. Not that I'm against, like, freak art. You know what? We don't need to get into this right now. I don't need to talk to you about my opinions on what kind of art is, like, okay and what's just, like, too freaky for me. That's not what you're here for. I have all of the mains, excluding Bobette and Bassie, because I just ran out of steam for those two, and they never showed up. I've played the Squirm update. I already got him. I got him as soon as I possibly could. And I've also been playing since the very first Easter update. So, I think I can call myself a fan by now. All that to say, I don't think that this is a bad game. It's really fun, and I love the characters, and I love the set design, and the community, but... yeah, the effect really wears off after you play a few rounds. While I was never scared, I was very on edge my first time playing because I went into this experience under the assumption that I was supposed to be scared. After I realized that all of the antagonistic characters looked like this, that effect started to wear off. Though I will shamelessly admit that the first time I saw Pebble, I actually almost shat myself. This game is capable of keeping you aware, holding your attention, and even making you have "oh shit, I'm so fucking dead" moments. It's just not that scary. And that's okay. I'm pretty sure that's just the developer's art style, and that's totally alright. I actually really like the way it looks. It makes the game more accessible for younger audiences, and it's their artistic expression, so as long as I'm having fun and they're having fun, I don't care. Nevertheless, I can't help but wish that the game took its horror label a little further. Thus, fan redesign time. Yo, why did a little, like, noise reduction pop up here on my screen just now? Am I being too loud for you? Now, we simply must start with the star of the show himself, Dandicus Dancifer. Yes, that is his real name. Dandy is pretty inarguably one of the most frightening characters in Dandy's World, which makes sense considering he's kind of the big bad. He's rather imposing with his large, ichor-covered body and his long claws. He moves slowly, but one wrong move can lead to your demise, and he's a pretty powerful hunter. However, there is one problem that I have with him, and that's his face. All of my issues with his design are pretty much just stylistic, as Quel's style is just very round and sweet. Otherwise, I actually really like the direction they went in for his design. I love how his silhouette is very cat-like, and rather than having him stand upright, he walks on all fours while still having functional arms. So in my redesign, I honestly didn't change much. I think this was actually the least that I did change up a character. I was really focused on his face, so most of what I did change were aesthetic details like his tail and putting him in those shackles as opposed to being covered in tapes like he is in his original design. I wanted to keep his signature smile but make it freakier by modeling it after a very poorly preserved and relatively static mascot mask. Dandy's low-key a two-faced bitch anyway, so I think this fits him very well. I made his makeup runny and his face rotted, and I gave his petals sharper, more jagged edges to create a feeling of danger rather than the comfort that we associate with round shapes. On top of that, his false face opens up to his real mouth, just as a fun little detail to give his twisted design a gimmick. I think that he'd only open his face as a finishing move, making it so that he eats the player rather than just beating the shit out of them or whatever is going on in the original game. Unfortunately, his weird face opening thing is very reminiscent of a certain someone, especially because of the colors, but it's fine, and that definitely won't be a reoccurring theme in this video. Let's just move on. Pebble, my Shayla. I think that us Dandy World fiends can all agree that there's no worse feeling than being deep into a run and hearing Pebble barking after you've left the elevator. He's a pretty intimidating character due to his stature, speed, and looming jaws. Much like Dandy, I actually really like the idea of Twisted Pebble's design. I think the creator did a great job of working their design around the features of dogs that people may find disturbing, and I think that making him such a fast Twisted also really helps with the execution of his design as well. However, when you're not worried about an abrupt end to your run, you gotta admit he looks kind of goofy. While I like the way that he's a little hunched over, I think that the lack of front legs and the roundness of his limbs takes away from his design. He's actually very round in general, much like most of the Twisteds, and that makes him less intimidating, especially with those round ears and his rather cute face, when you don't factor in that gaping jaw. So, for my redesign, I really wanted to capitalize on his height and the common fear of dogs. Me personally, I'm not afraid of dogs. However, I sometimes get really paranoid about my dog suddenly standing up on two legs when I'm alone with her like a human. I don't know what would happen in that scenario. She'd never hurt me, she's a sweetheart. So at first I was tempted to put Pebble on two legs because I think dog-like creatures being straight-spined bipedals is really freaky, but I decided against it because I thought it looked too awkward. So I kept him hunched over and gave him his front legs back. I modeled him after a Doberman because that's a dog that many people find intimidating, even though they're sweethearts, obviously. I let him keep his big ears, I just made them sharper, and his eyes are still bulbous and a little off-center like they are in the original. I made his pupils set straight though, so that he's able to have that crucial moment of recognition via eye contact with the player. I wanted him to smile like his pal Dandy, and I kept his gaping jaw in my design because I think it was pretty effective in the original. I also gave him a tongue that's always kind of lolling out and some freaky ichor rabies. What if instead of rabies, it was freaky rabies? And what if instead of being afraid of water, you got freaky? That meme is like 2 years old, dude. Oh. I liked the idea of Icar sort of compromising the Toon's bodies, so I left part of Pebble's organic body visible to kind of tell that story, and the mixture of organic matter and mascot parts is definitely not something that has been done ever before! He's unfortunately not very rock-like in my version, but I added some moss to help communicate that better. That was a super cool recommendation from my pal Ashtrees. Everyone subscribe to Ashtrees! Yo, my throat is actually so sore, and I've only been recording for like 12 minutes, I'm pretty sure. It's been sore all day, because I woke up early, and then, okay, listen, I had to get in my car really early because I was going somewhere, it's none of your business, and the only thing I had in my car to drink were these plastic water bottles that had been in there since before winter started, so like October, and my throat has been hurting ever since. I think I like actually chugged so many microplastics that I have a sore throat now. Louis! One of these things is not like the other. I know that Louis is not nearly as big of a personality as Dandy or Pebble, and that's exactly why I wanted to redesign him. He irritates me. Who let this motherfucker leave the house? What is he wearing? Who let him out of his enclosure? Oh, my voice annoys me so bad. Haha, I gotta stay nonchalant. Ha. Yeah. I just don't like the way he looks. But you know what? That's okay! I love the idea of the circus trio. I just feel like they could have had a little more flair, especially considering that circus themes are just very flamboyant to me. I'm also just not a huge fan of his twisted design specifically. There's just something about it that bores me to an irritating degree. Even though I actually really like how his head is detached from his body because that tells a story, and it plays off of his character gimmick, and I think that's really smart. My idea for his gameplay function, like how he would behave on the floor, is impacted by the fact that instead of being full of air, he's got a lot of ichor in him, so he's heavy and slow. You know, because his body is supposed to hold like air or like helium or whatever, and not like that particular substance. You get it. But the longer the players are on the floor, the faster he gets, because more ichor leaks from the hole in his head, which makes him lighter in the short term. But if he tries and fails to attack a player, which isn't the same thing as getting aggro, his head explodes from the stress, giving him a temporary debuff. So a good way to theoretically deal with him would be to explode his head once his speed begins to become a problem, ideally before panic mode. I love antagonists with a sort of staging about them. I'm not sure if that's a good way to explain it, but for example, I love Squirm's twisted variant, or just Squirm in general, because of his staging. It's not too one note because he's able to move around the map after grabbing a player, and when you first enter the floor, you might just find him eating a bookshelf. It gives him more character and makes him more memorable. Obviously, you can't make all 39 Toons memorable, but I'd love to see more dynamic staging. I will say, however, that I did not make his design scary at all. I gotta admit, I'm not a horror artist in the slightest, so after designing Pebble, I began to lose steam, which resulted in my last two redesigns being more focused on aesthetics rather than fear factor. But it's okay because Louis is not a very big enemy anyway. I don't know why I gave him nipples. I just felt like he looked too naked, but ironically that made him look more naked. Forewarning, the self-indulgence with this one is crazy. V, for me, was a very difficult character to design in a frightening way. Not just because I feel like her original Twisted doesn't give me a lot to work with, but because she's made up of hardware, and I was worried that giving her face on the screen would make her look goofy. It's easier to make something scary when you can easily identify it as a threat, and naturally, humans view other organisms as a threat as opposed to, say, technology. On top of that, as I mentioned before, eye contact is a huge aspect of that millisecond-long identification process. So obviously, I had to give V some eyes to make that moment of recognition clear and instant. However, I feel that no matter how hard I tried, I just don't have the experience or the knowledge to make a television scary. because I can't play off the natural fear of being predated on in the same way that I could by modeling Pebble after a dog. Therefore, I stuck with making her look cool, which is far more within my ballpark. I originally wasn't going to give her claws, but one of my brain dump doodles of her was this really cute pose, and the paws just topped it off perfectly. So I fell in love with it. I like that she has matching claws with Dandy despite them being rivals. I don't know how to twist that in a way that sounds like cool, my bad. And I think that if I do more redesigns in the future, then I'll give all of the Twisted Mains some sort of rainbow in their design. The claws take away from her intimidation factor a little, but I don't care because she looks absolutely darling with them. To avoid her looking too industrial as opposed to organic, obviously, I made her organs and bones pretty visible. I think what happened was that the Ichor somehow ripped her apart while compromising her, maybe because she put up a good fight thanks to her hard exterior. I'm getting to that point of like dry throatness where every breath I take is cold and I literally can't breathe. I'm gonna get some water. That's a good idea. Thanks for suggesting that, guys. You know how when like toddlers take a sip of a drink and they come back up for air and they gasp as if they were drowning? That's what I did just now. I was so thirsty. Anyway, the contrast between man-made matter and human organs has never been done before in the history of ever. Yeah, the visible innards are very reminiscent of Poppy Playtime. Buzzword, Poppy Playtime. Tangent, I haven't played that game, but I think it's pretty cool. If somewhat generic due to its status as mascot horror, I really wish the game design were a little better, but there's already a million videos about that, so I'm going to move on. Also, I keep being distracted. You guys are here for the designs, not for me talking. Oh, and by the way, when I was writing this script, I kept trying to type Poppy Playtime, but it kept autocorrecting the poop playtime. I think that when playing the game, you'd find my version of V stalking the floor on all fours, and when she finally notices you, that parent or main TV head turns to face you, and the other smaller TVs follow. And the eyes specifically move independently from the head to lock onto you. I would make a demonstration animation, but I've taken so many tests and shit this week that the life is actually just sucked out of me and I can't do shit anymore. Then, after she notices you, maybe she jumps on two legs out of instinct, but once she begins chasing you, she's back on all fours because her back legs are weaker. I don't really have any other cool staging ideas for her, but I think her 3D model would look really good under some natural blue light or something, just as an idea. I promise she'd be scarier in 3D. But yeah, I made her design sharper, more intricate, and a little less goofy. She's still more cool than scary though. Yo, this video was supposed to be 8 to 10 minutes. It's not gonna be 8 to 10 minutes. My voice is actually like so much better now that I've had water. Anyway, those were my 4 designs that I did. I had so much fun making these, and I'd honestly love to make a part 2 if I have enough energy after finishing this video. As unserious as this game is, I love it dearly, and if you ever see me not excited about a new update, that's not me. Shoot him, that's my evil clone. As much as the original game doesn't really scare me, it definitely gives me the thrill of the chase, or of being chased, technically. And I have a lot of fun with it and its characters. Still, it's cool to imagine these characters as actually being designed for a more mature horror experience, even though the game is still very dear to me in its current form. For those who are curious, my top 3 favorite tunes are Dandy, Gordy, and Sprout/Astro because they keep fighting for a place in top 3. So if I were to make another one of these, I would definitely want to tackle one of them, minus Dandy obviously, because I already did that and I don't really know if I want to revisit it yet. And before you go, I'd like to share with you that one of my goals this year has been to get to 1K before my birthday. So if you're not subscribed, that would be really cool. And to incentivize you further, I'm going to read you the rest of my bucket list for this year, which is very short, I promise. Number 1, read a book at home. I'm almost done with that one. You guys don't understand how hard reading is for me sometimes. Number 2, start hormones. Almost done with that one. I'm on track for that one. Number 3, go to a protest/demonstration. Did it. Number 4, hit 1K. Hopefully we do it. That'd be really cool. Number 5, animate a proper walk cycle. I did that. Number 6, make an animatic/AMV. I haven't done that, and that's not happening. Number 7, I believe, is to host for friends, which I did do. Number 8 is to take someone to a dance. I did that. Yeah, I got game. What comes after 8? 9 is to dumpster dive. Haven't done that yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to, but it'd be really cool. It's just that a lot of the dumpsters in my area are unfortunately closed off. And number 10, I'm not gonna share with you. You don't need to know that, like, actually. Get me to 3K and I'll share with you the 10th thing on my list that I really don't want to publicize. Yeah, not really sure how to end this one. So, you know, new Gorillaz album just came out. I absolutely love it. I think all the songs are catchy. My favorite right now is probably Damascus. If you like Gorillaz, talk to me. If you like Dandy's World, talk to me. If you want to know about the 10th thing on that bucket list, don't talk to me. Subscribe to me, then talk to me. What else can you talk to me about? I have an Instagram. I'm opening up commissions soon. Talk to me about that. I love art. I love doing art, and you should totally support that. Thank you. Thank you. My headphones are about to die, so I'm just gonna end this. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you like my designs. I would love to do this again. Thank you. Have a good day.